Chad, is this thing on? Is this thing on? I always have to ask. We know how OBS gets. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's transmission. It is May 3rd, 2026. I don't really have much planned today, but as you know, transmissions are always on Sundays. It is on. Alright, perfect. I'm just a little concerned because my audio interface just sucks. Hello, Dumb Floppa, Ryuzaki, TC. The usual suspects are in the chat today. Dumb Floppa asks, I found your music career and I have to ask, did you make the background music? No. So, all the music in the past couple of streams are from a wonderful musician called State Azure. We've been using his music since 2022, as far back as the Windows 98 video. Not Windows OS today. Actually, no. I just need to follow through on something that I've unfortunately had to cancel because of, life situations. Let's just put it that way. So we'll show y'all a little later in today's stream. What's up, Kako? Welcome to the stream. We got more LARP streams before CD-ROM drive audio. The LARP streams will continue until morale improves. Hello, Ryuzaki. But Floppa, to continue answering your question, I have produced music for some videos, some of which are still unreleased. Like that Windows 95 theme startup sound edit that I made, that was all me. The first song that played like around the intro of that video in the Windows 95 video, that is also made by me, but unreleased. Whether I will release those or not is to be determined, but we shall see. So today's stream, I didn't really have much planned, but I did want to show you guys. Well, let me start it like this. So, my job here at 86Box, besides throwing those streams, besides running this YouTube channel, besides running all socials and making y'all think we've been hacked because of some analog horror phase I was in or whatever, I don't know. I like the aesthetics. Part of my job here, at least for the last 6 years that I've been on my job here at 86Box, is a lot of quality testing. That means if let's say I just pick a machine, I test it, I install whatever operating system I want on there, and I realize something's wrong, like there's a bug or whatever. Now, this mainly happens on nightly. You guys know where to download those precious nightly builds. What's up, Killer Rabbit? Welcome to stream. ci.86box.net for all your nightly build needs. There's this thing called bisecting, and actually I'm going to pull that up here over on my screen. So I usually take one nightly build and check it against an older one or whatever latest stable we have. So that means if we find something, if we find a bug, we have to figure out where it happened. This is what we call bisecting, and it's pretty easy to do. Actually, I'll just pull this up right here. We are here on the glorious 86Box website. What you do here, you go on 86box.net/builds, go on the website, download experimental. It's had this little bisect button right here. As you can see, the latest build, which I have not updated yet, is 8862. I think at the last stream we were still on 8803 and I still hadn't updated. Not doing my job here. But this is where you can get all your nightly builds. Windows, Mac, Linux, the old recompiler that is. New recompiler is over here. Got Windows, but mind you, they're all 64-bit as of, I don't exactly remember when, but they've been exclusively 64-bit for quite a while. You have Windows on 64-bit or x64, my bad. Windows on ARM. Mac OS for both Intel and Apple Silicon. Linux on x64 and Linux on ARM. Actually, I do use this one quite a lot because my only fully working bare metal Linux machine is my Raspberry Pi 5. I think I might do a stream on that one at some point in the future if I can figure out the capture card situation for that thing. But, you know, it is what it is. So, bisecting. Good build, bad build. So, for example, 8200, which is the build number for version 5.3, 32-bit compiles. I don't know about that one. I think I would have to ask. That's a battler question, to be honest. Like, I do not keep up with that. Like, it's like most people know I am not a developer. I don't know shit about shit when it comes to code, besides the fact that I wrote an entire Python-based VM manager that just leverages a couple of commands in the 86-box executable. And there you go, Kako answered the question. But essentially, you would take the build number of the good build, or stable in that sense, and let's say you found a bug in build number 8862. It takes the average of those numbers, and it gives you a build number to try. To prove my theory, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Add those two build numbers together, divide by 2, and there you go. It just takes the average of those two numbers. Now, if you want to be like me, if you would like to contribute, this is the easiest way to contribute to 86box, mind you. I want to show you guys how I have my 86box set up. So, for the purposes of this stream, I have a virtual machine. I have a few virtual machines set up. I'm going to show you guys how to do this on Windows and Linux. On Mac is an entire situation because I have my I have my Mac. It's basically the only Mac that I have, and I'm not going to go through the pain of setting up a Hackintosh virtual machine for this. At least I haven't gotten to that point yet. But let's go ahead and open this thing right here. So as I said, I'm going to show you guys how to do this on both Windows and Linux. So I have a Windows 11 virtual machine right here. I'm going to start brand new, basically untouched. Yeah, that Windows 1 screenshot is just something else. I don't even remember how we got here. So doing this on Windows is rather simple, actually. Obat has appeared in the chat. Hello, Obat. Welcome to the stream. So yeah, there's like several reasons why we don't really bother with 32-bit. Because let's face it, guys. 32-bit only CPUs are not... They're not that powerful anymore. This is a fairly clean install of Windows. Alright, so you're gonna see I quite literally have nothing on this machine. Okay, so you guys are talking about running... Nah. Come on now. On a Core 2 Duo. It's been able to do a 386 pretty... That's... You know what? That's interesting. That's interesting, actually. Well, of course, by clean, I meant zero bloatware. Alright, so, oh yeah, I still have that, there you go, disconnect. I don't think I'm not gonna really need that. I don't have shared folders enabled on this machine, but, alright. So, first things first, obviously, you open your favorite browser. You go to the good old 86box.net. this is how I do it. I have a folder for stable build of 86 box, and I have a folder for nightly. This will end your Windows session. Oh yeah, with the music note. And it had no sound. It had zero sound, chat. Alright, so let's start building this, shall we? Go to C, users, DDX, you know, the home folder, if you will. Actually, no, hold on. No, calm down. Calm down. It's just a lot easier to just do it here. Unless you want to do it in documents, then you know that's up to you. But I'd rather just do it here. Create a folder here called 86 box. And then I'm going to create 3 folders. Create machines. Because this is a little bit of a spoiler, but with the new 86 box manager, whatever folder you pick for the machines, either stable or nightly, it doesn't matter which executable you want. Any 86 box executable with is gonna have the same path, basically. Using 2 gigs of RAM in Linux, guys, Google Cloud, just run this thing without a desktop environment, please. Like, anywho, I'm gonna create another folder here called stable, which is where our executables will go, and then nightly. All right. So let's start by downloading the stable build first. As you can see, we have this lovely piece of art by Shina Arts on Instagram with our beloved 86 box Chan. We're gonna scroll all the way down so we can find, there we go, 86 box, Windows 64 B8200, build number 8200, aka version 5.3. I'm gonna go ahead and download that. I forgot I didn't set that to, 1 second. This is one thing I always do, I always forget to do in Chrome. Okay, yeah, ask where to save each file. There you go. Always have that checked. But no matter, it's actually in downloads. We can go ahead and crack this open real quick. And then keep those zip files. Keep those zip files, they'll come in pretty handy. I'm gonna go to stable. We're gonna go ahead and create another folder. You can either call it exe or builds. Copy it here. What we can do is then call it 5.3 ODR, because this is the regular dynamic recompiler. 86 Chan, 86 box Chan, same difference really. Alright, now we're gonna go ahead and extract that. Now if I'm okay, there we go. Extract files with 7-zip. Alright. Go ahead and extract that to the root of this stable folder. Which I guess I messed up there. Oh, the assets are prepackaged? Interesting. Okay, that I wasn't aware of. But we're gonna go ahead and move those to the root of the folder. And then delete that. So now we have, alright, let me do one more thing. This is just my personal preference. Do not hide the extensions. There we go. 86 bucks on an Itanium. Yo. Like, come on, guys. Like, all right. So we have 86 bucks right here. We can try launching it, but you're not gonna be able to do anything because y'all don't have the ROMs. There are no ROMs for your usage. So now we go back on GitHub, but this time we're gonna go into ROMs. As you can see here, we have the 86 box 5.3 ROM set. Download it here. Go to the folder we just created. That's going to be a little difficult. There you go. And then just put it here. And then I believe extract to ROMs 5.3. I think it has its own folder already. Okay, yeah, now we're good. And then just rename this to ROMs. So, when you download stable, at least from here, it's gonna come with whatever asset pack that that was released with this particular version in the zip file. So you're gonna have 86 box, you're gonna have the Discord DLL for rich presence, I believe, and then GSDLL 64. You're gonna have those, and then you're gonna have the assets. Which the sounds right now, we only have the floppy drive sounds in version 5.3. But if you've been watching 86 box live for the past few streams, or for the past few weekends rather, you will notice that we do have hard drive sounds. However, they're exclusive to 3600 RPM hard drives. When are we going to start making it so the ROMs just extract to a directory, name ROMs instead of... I mean, renaming it doesn't really take that much time, to be fair. Besides if... Well, let me double check something. Because if we download this, you could always just go into 7-zip or whatever extraction utility you have. Alright, just do 7-zip at this point. And just do that, and you can just drag it here and then just rename it to ROMs. Or you could always do this, extract, and then just create a directory called ROMs, you know, after the fact. You know? But, again, not really anything to deal with. Alright, so now we have the assets. Now we have the ROMs. Let's go ahead and actually start 86 box. Alright, so we're going to end up here. Version 5.3, build 8200. There you go. Now, one thing you want to do is you want to go into tools. You want to go into preferences. And, okay, well, it does create its own directory. But I like to keep everything 86 box in one folder. So we're going to go into the machines folder that I just created. And just select that. And call it a day. Now we're gonna go ahead and create a new machine just as a proof of concept. I don't know. Like always say, like the killjoy always lurks in the shadows or something. All right, so doesn't really matter what specs I pick here. I'm just gonna try to make sure that this can also be accessed in nightly. Right, yada 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 yada. I think this is like decent enough for specs. 2 buttons. I'm quite literally trying to recreate this from memory. PCI 2. I don't think there's anything else I need to do here. Internal device. Internal device. Machines. Well, I guess not. This is actually interesting. Oh, is there nothing here? Oh, it still thinks it's in there. That's weird. Alright, hold up, chat. Tools, preferences. I don't think it's saved. Let me close and start again. Alright, so let's try this again. Start 86 box. Tools, preferences. Alright, 86 box, machines. There we go. For those wondering about the Killjoy stream, our last CIA stream, actually, it's still unlisted. After the stream, I'm probably gonna put it back up because I had a couple things to edit out of it. So, All right, let's try recreate. Let's try this again. Let's try this again. Again, doesn't really matter what you pick here. I'm just doing this as a quick little proof of concept. All right, PS2, PS2. PCI2, this is just a MAC address, there's no need to configure anything. Internal. Alright, let's go back to machines. Alright, there we go. And then disk, I think this one was 16.3, which will give you about like an 8.4 gig hard drive. Alright, perfect. They only give it like one floppy drive, I think. Alright. And then, of course, you can pick whatever auditory experience you prefer. And then ETAPI 52. And then postcard. Alright. So we have created our machine. Start it real quick just to see if it works. Mind you, this is all on VMware, so I'm not sure how bad of a performance hit I'm taking just because of this being in a virtual machine. But then again, what point would I have to run 86box in a Windows virtual machine when my main machine actually runs Windows on bare metal? So we have this nightly folder, and we're finally going to make use of it. So let's go back to 86box's website, download experimental, and then go here. So as you know, we are on build number 8862. I'm not sure if they're probably working on build 8863 as we speak, but let's go ahead and download that as well. We're going to go into the nightly folder. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to create a folder called builds. And we're going to put it here. All right, so what we're going to do is just also put ODR next to it. And then we're going to extract that to... Where's 7-zip? We're going to extract that to... there we go. See, I forgot to do that. So we're going to go ahead and extract this to nightly. You go back to nightly, everything is here. I believe that's for MDF, MDS images? Question mark? VMware in 86box and VMware would be... I'm not sure. That sounds insane. Wait, Kiwi IRC doesn't work? Oh, wait. I have to double check that. Because I think we did switch to irc.86box.net. But that's something I'll look into after stream. We're not even at 6.0. There is no release date. Yeah, after version 6. Okay, it's gonna tell you all the same thing because again, there are no ROMs within its vicinity. So now we're also gonna have to download the ROMs, but this time for nightly, what you should do is, well, it says right here, clone the repository. Well, I don't have GitHub Desktop installed on here, so I'm just gonna have to do it like this. Download the zip file. You go to code and use download zip. Oh, actually, let me just move that. Oh, interesting. Okay. I swear, Windows 11 is just genuinely inconsistent. Go ahead and extract that. And then extract, and then just change the directory name to ROMs, and you're good to go. You're gonna do the same thing for assets. Go to code. Assets main. And then again, just unpack that as well. Again, just change it to assets. Now, as I was saying, both stable and nightly, doesn't matter which version you get, they all use the same config file, which points to the same machine directory. So what I would do, if you want a machine that you only want to use with nightly, which I see that, which I'm sure you guys have seen how many machines I have on my actual computer. Either designated with nightly or whatever. Well, the CMD script on Windows, I will just git clone both repos and also check if they exist for duplicates. Or you can just use GitHub Desktop, to be fair. But you know, whatever floats your boat. I think, okay, so I'm not sure if you guys remember, but there was this one issue with the video card where it would straight up just say like video none when I went back from nightly to stable. And that's just because we reworked a couple of things in the display with the graphics cards. Because as you can see, it looks a little cleaner than stable. So, guys, this, pay attention to this machine right there. This is gonna be a very interesting. This is a very interesting machine, chat. That's all I will say. But I'm gonna go ahead and recreate the same machine, well, ish. If you guys are not on nightly yet, by the way, as you can see, there's been a couple of reworks in the settings window. We have tabs now. Things look slightly different with the CPUs. And as you can see, there's not like 5 million cards for everything. Like for example, for the, I think the trio. Okay, I don't think there's anything here. But for example, if you guys know which card I have sung the praises of for the last 5 fucking years on Windows NT 4.0, well, not just that, but Windows for Workgroups 3.11, the wonderful SD Vision 964. Now, the diamond version, well, you can't see it, but let me explain why. Just pick the SD Vision 964. You go here in BIOS. You have the Diamond Stealth 64 VRAM. Yeah, there you go, Shadow. There you go. That particular card. Diamond Stealth 64 VRAM, 4 megabytes of VRAM. Now, the Elsa Winter 2000 Pro, I haven't really had time to test, but it goes as far as 8 megabytes. The Myro only does 2 megabytes. I'll have to give this one a try at some point. But for purposes of this test, I'm not even gonna start the machines because I don't have my hard drive connected to this virtual machine. That's fine. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Just to mouse. There you go. This one just stays as none. I think, yeah. Default codec. Oh, and you can search too. PCI, there you go. PCI 2. Nothing here. Everything looks perfect. Internal. And again, everything is just gonna go in its own directory. So machines, do the same thing. 16383. So you guys basically get the point, I'm sure. Alright, so I have that cleared up. And then 52 times. So we have 4 options for floppy drives. You have the Panasonic. We have, well, for either 5.25 inch. Oh yeah, tablet Mini 15. I did try 1080p using I believe it was a Voodoo 3 card on 98, but I had a couple issues capturing it on OBS. I have no idea why. That's something I have to figure out as well. So we have 4 options. Either go with the Alps Electric or the Epson if we want an authentic 3.5 inch floppy drive experience. Now the thing with this, there's a reason why am I doing it on a VM, just so I can show everyone how to set it up without without it interfering with my existing 86 box setup. So there's a reason why you don't see anything here when your model is set to RAM disk. Well, you can't have the sound of a hard drive going crazy, for starters. Gamer X, that is not a question I am able to answer. As of right now, we don't know when that's coming yet. The whole CPU is Intel Core i7-11700F. So, going back to this, the only sounds that exist right now are for 3600 RPM hard drives. Now, obviously, you do not want the 1983 stuff with that. But we have 3 options. We have the Mini Scribe, we have the IBM. Again, everything from on 3600 RPM. For example, if you go on 3500, you're not going to find anything. Nope. None of that. None of that. And 7200 RPM, which is the most common speed for hard drives nowadays. None of that either. But I guess coming soon. I don't know. If you guys have a 5400 RPM hard drive that you guys are willing to professionally record, I don't know if anyone in chat is willing to do that, contributions welcome. But apart from that, unfortunately, no sound here. And a postcard, as usual. And now the machine's been created. Again, you can see both of the specs here on nightly, mind you. Build 8662. And then once you hop back to stable, again, you're going to see both machines here. This is the machine that I created with stable. And this is the machine I created with nightly. Now, this is what I was talking about here. Video none. You guys have to be careful with that. This is why I always, designate, I'm not sure if that's the correct term for that, but I always tag all the machines that I want to use with nightly just so I don't get any form of confusion, if you will. So this I created with stable, and this I created with nightly. Alright, so this is how you do things. This is my 86 box setup on Windows. Now, on Linux, it's a little different. Mind you, I do have a Linux, I do have a bare metal Linux machine, but it's not that powerful, I have to say. We're gonna go ahead and hop onto another VM here, which is not Debian or Ubuntu. For anyone that knows me in the Discord, I usually just stick to Debian or Ubuntu based distros just because I have more experience with those. But last night, I had the bright idea to try out an Arch based distro. And no, it's not Arch Linux proper. It's not Arch, by the way. It's Endeavor OS. Let me go ahead and switch over to VirtualBox here for a second. Yes, Endeavor OS. I think it's one of the. I know there's Manjaro. I know there's. Is there any other massively popular Arch Linux based distro that not so tech savvy people can use half the time? I genuinely just don't remember. Okay, where's virtual box? All right. In chemo, please. I just do not have the time for this. Hello, Cecil. Welcome to the stream. Oh, dude, Void. I have not touched that in years. Oh, there we go. CashOS. I forgot about that. I forgot about that. Wait, I think Bazite was based on Fedora last I checked. No? I mean, come on, guys. Don't guys, come on. Don't do me like that. Like, Bazite, I'm pretty sure was... Yeah. Let's see, guys. Let's check out Bazite. Well, it sure looks like it had like some Fedora involvement. It's designed for Linux newcomers. It's for the gamers, chat. It's for the gamers. Okay. Yeah, of course. Wait a minute. What? These guys are actually trying to bring Android apps to... Interesting. So whenever I do get a laptop that I'm just gonna bare metal Linux on, I think I might give that a try. Interesting. But for the time being, actually, let's look at the documentation real quick. FAQ. Okay. That's funny. That's actually funny. No, because chat. Alright, one of y'all, please. Is it based on Fedora or Arch? This Bazite Tech Edition. Chat, what the? Is DistroWatch? Yo, chat, is DistroWatch still a thing? It is. Alright, perfect. DistroWatch has not failed me in the last, like, 15 years? Well, there we have it. It's based on Fedora. But Endeavor OS, chat. Endeavor OS is based on Arch Linux, by the way. So we're gonna go ahead and give that a try. Yeah. Bazite is based on Red Star OS. Bro, if only. If you know, you know. Let's go ahead and start my Endeavor OS machine. Shall we? I genuinely do wonder if there's like any like proper Arch based distros that have images for my Raspberry Pi. Stream derailment successful. Well, it is a chill stream, so I don't particularly care about stream getting derailed or whatever. I know, honestly, like I don't even remember what the what's it called? I don't even remember what Red Star OS looks like, to be fair. Yeah, I've actually been like reading DistroWatch for maybe like the last like 15 years. I don't go on it that much anymore, but I've known about that website for quite a long time, like when I was actually getting into, Linux and the like. So, go ahead and log in real quick. Arch Linux on a Raspberry Pi is one of the worst things you can try. You know what? I would get another micro SD card for my Raspberry Pi just to test that theory, but due to how bad the shortage is right now, I think I'm just gonna stick with my allegedly not so modified version of Raspberry Pi OS, which is just Debian. All right, so wait, give me 1 second before I accidentally do something stupid here. Okay. So, mandatory fast fetch for all my Linux enjoyers. I give this machine 8 gigs of RAM and a 128 gig partition. Just more than enough, to be fair. And this thing actually came with VirtualBox Guest Edition, so I don't have to go through the pain of having to, you know, do all that. Oh, the SID repos. Yeah, that's another thing I used to do when I used to test Debian, when I didn't have anything to really bare metal Linux on. I would always, and I mean always, I used to, it was like muscle memory to me, chat. It was like muscle memory. You just go into /etc/apt sources.list, just change the, you know, just change the repositories, and then, you know, just run apt update and apt upgrade. Call it a day. But enough of the Linux derailment now, chat. There is a reason why I'm here. There is a reason why I'm here. We're gonna go ahead and do the same thing. First of all, time to look at the directory structure that we have here. Okay, this is actually not going to sort by change. Okay, there we go. Change view mode. Let's try this actually. Make this smaller. Yeah, I can make this smaller. All right, perfect. So right now we are in our home directory. We're gonna do the same exact thing that we did on Windows. Create a folder for 86 box, because we're gonna have everything in here. Go to 86 box. So we're gonna go to our website. Linux had launchers for Genshin, Star Rail. I mean, we found the gacha. We found the gacha game enjoyer. We found the Hoyoverse enjoyer. Floppa, actually, yes. This was, mind you, those were things that I did in like 2017-18, like so several years ago. Since I've been using this for quite a while. Let's just do the same thing that we did. Again, nothing really different here. Nothing different here. Stable nightly. Alright. Download stable. And then we're just gonna go downstairs. We're gonna go ahead and pick up this app image. Alright, there. I was smart enough to have turned that on. It's gonna be a little different on Linux, because we're just getting the executable. We're not getting a whole zip file. We'll go to stable, create another folder called builds, and then we're gonna go ahead and rename this app image to 5.3 ODI. There we go. Unironically, the Windows 11 VM I'm setting up, I will keep for another plan for having each Windows release installed. Time for you to invest in hard drives, buddy. Alright, so while the app image is downloading, the well-built app image, by the way, the well-built app image. Little Discord end joke here by one of our fellow contributors. Alright, while I pull this up, let me go ahead and download the ROM set for 5.3. Tempted to stockpile 4 terabyte hard drives. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, I have a photography business, and I'm already on my second 12 terabyte hard drive. So same thing here, download the ROM set, the ROM zip file, and then just put it here. On July 20, okay. On July 22nd, 2025, fellow contributor Lemon Drops once said, about the app image, the well-built app image, mind you. A well-built app image being necessary to the functionality of a computer system, the rights of the users to run programs shall not be integrated. Join us at discord.gg/86box. Wait, is that still our link? Dang it. Never mind. Discord.86box.net. Join our Discord. This is where all the fun happens, chat. Okay, so we have the... I'm going to go in our stable folder here. And then we're going to go ahead and extract two ROMs. Okay, buddy. Okay. We're just going to go ahead and create that directory then. Extract. Yes. What like, come on, boss. Oh, so it's one of those. Alright, that's an easy fix. Drag those here, move here. And then whatever ROM's 5.3 folder that remains, get out. Okay, so it's only the app image. So you know what this means, chat? We're gonna go back to GitHub and go ahead and download our assets. We're gonna download our glorious audio files. 67,000 member count soon. Fellas. We're at 3,400. Regardless, join the Discord. Assets 5.3. Alright. Go ahead and unpack that as well. Extract here, I believe. Alright. And then just rename that to assets. Now, if you guys want to stockpile the ROM sets, you're more than welcome to do that in your own folder. But, also that's the Mac OS meme. Like if you move your mouse super fast, the cursor just goes crazy. My bad. All right. So now let's get to the actual imported the meat and potatoes of the matter. I'm gonna go ahead and rename this to 86box for my personal convenience. Now, I'm going to try to run it. Yeah, I was going to ask you to launch this file. Again, your mileage may vary depending on which Linux distribution you use. Always do this, launch executable files without asking. Yes, just launch it, boss. All right. .86box. We are on version 5.3. And then, of course, go to Tools, Preferences. Okay, so pay attention to the default paths that this thing actually sets, because one day you're gonna look at that and I'm like, okay, where the fuck are all my machines? So here it's saved to your home folder .local/share 86box virtual machines. But of course, I personally like to keep everything under one folder, so we're gonna go here. Okay, just be careful because like single click. You don't have to double click, you just single click and you're already in the directory. But there you go. Just make sure you know which path you set your machines to. Now we're gonna do the same thing for nightly. I don't really, it's the same thing, really. It's the same thing. I should have kept, come to think of it, I actually should have kept both tabs open. Did they actually compile a build while I was live? Okay, this is interesting. It's not working here. Okay, so in the event that this thing doesn't work, we do host our builds here, our nightly builds. Go to ci.86box.net. That's if it loads. Could not load build information. Strange. Y'all, give me 1 second. Hold on. The builds are gone. The nightly builds are gone. It's over. It's over, chat. Oh, we are still live. I think things might have taken a turn for the worst over in our server. $86 in VMware. Okay, so it appears that this thing is actually not loading. So I mean, that's fine. That's fine. This is just a quick demonstration of how I personally set up 86 on both Windows and Linux, but it doesn't really matter here. What's important here about those app images? They behave like 86 regular executables, but you just have to make sure that that it can be executable. In the worst case, what you can do is just open the terminal right here. CD stable. And then you would just do chmod plus and okay. So what you would do to make this executable, you just do chmod plus x and then your app image. I've noticed something in chat. So people really want to know how Windows 10 runs in 86 bucks. I've already told you guys. If you guys want to find out, just stick around. Just stick around, chat. Just stick around and you shall see. Just, stick around. Why is this thing not loading? Does anyone know? No, not thought account. Alright, guys. I'm going to need 40 likes on today's stream to attempt to run Windows 10 on 86 bucks. Now, if you look hard enough, there have been a couple of attempts, but we're going to do this live. Go ahead and like the stream. Get this to 40 likes, John. This is one thing I absolutely hate about YouTube Studios. I can't even go back to the live control room or whatever the fuck. Like, YouTube is just very interesting sometimes. Go live, I think. Okay. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. That actually might be easier to run Windows 11 on 86 bucks. Okay. We'll just I will take you guys up on that offer. How about that? Okay, so let me do something here. Let me try shared folders. If I can even do that while the machine is running. Actually, if I can do that, that'll be nice. If I can actually pull that off while the machine is working, that'll be nice. Make machine permanent, auto mount. Okay, so Jenkins is back up. Okay, let me see if it works. Okay. Oh, perfect. Perfect. So, like I was telling you guys in chat. So, like I was saying, you can either go here or you can go here to ci.86box.net for all your nightly build needs. But let's try it from here at least. So, last successful build, which will be the latest build. You go to build artifacts. Either have the new recompiler, which mind you, if you are on an ARM machine like Apple Silicon Mac or Raspberry Pi, like I'm on, you will want to go with the new recompiler. Go to Linux, and there you have it. The well-built app image. We're gonna go into nightly, create all those directories as usual. I like to label my builds depending on the recompiler that I'm using. And then when it comes to the ROMs, as usual, if you're using nightly, go ahead and just download the zipper. Actually, no. Since we're on Linux and I have Git installed, let's not bother with that, chat. I mean, come on. There's a better way to do this. There's a much better way to do this. We're gonna go ahead and cd in our 86 box folder. I'm gonna go ahead and enter our nightly directory. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this. Git clone github.com/86box/roms. Into ROMs, I believe. Actually, hold on. Let me make this a little easier because I think it requires an empty directory. So mkdir, which is going to create the ROMs directory. Now both of those have to be empty. Both of those folders have to be empty. So if we do ls-al ROMs, there's nothing in there. So we're going to git clone. Mind you, you can also download a zip. I'll do the same thing, but you know, I like using the terminal sometimes. So ROMs, git clone the URL to the ROMs right here, right here. Yes, git clone that shit. Yes, sir. And depending on the speed of that virtual machine, it might take a while. I mean, to be fair, we can test that theory with the assets folder. One sec. So that's got nothing in there as far as I'm concerned. It's just move the trash. All right. Katie has some very interesting system sounds. They're not bad. Don't get me wrong. They're just interesting. I have no idea why this is slower than usual, but here we are. If you're deep enough into the Linux rabbit hole, how is your only Linux device a Raspberry Pi? Well, good question, actually. So... So my old laptop, which was a ThinkPad, W520, mind you. After I got my PC and my MacBook Pro, which is my main laptop now, I was like, all right, so what do I do with this big hunk of junk? So I was like, fuck it, I'll just dual boot. I'll just dual boot Windows, at least a decent enough version of Windows, and whatever Linux distro I wanted. So at the time, I think I had like just Arch on it, but I got the Caddy, which lets you put in two SATA hard drives in there. So I just put in two SSDs, Windows on one, Linux on the other. Unfortunately, that computer passed away earlier last year. And I also have an older MacBook Pro from 2011 that I managed to install Debian on there, but it was just, the experience was just very middling. I had to replace the battery as well. It just was not a pleasant experience. And then last year for a university project, I got a Raspberry Pi 5 because the project that we were working on did involve using Raspberry Pis and dealing with GPIO opens, yada yada yada. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I might as well just, invest in a decent little computer. Actually, I was thinking about either saving up for another ThinkPad, which I'm still saving up for, or just get a mini PC and just install Linux on there. But I was like, you know what? Let's just try the Raspberry Pi, because of course I hear so many people just rave about it. It's like how good those things are. So right now it's just, that's my only proper bare metal machine as it is. Also, I noticed the topic of 86 box forks being brought up that emulate the P3 and the P4, and this is exactly why. This right here is exactly why we don't bother with those. Because let's be real, the emulation speed is just not practical enough. Well, that's my position on the matter. Let's be real, because Pentium 2, at least the way we emulate those processors, if you have a good enough computer, of course you can go crazy with that. You can go with like the 400 megahertz Pentium 2s and Celerons and this and that. But when you start getting Pentium 3, this is where it's like come on. It's either you invest in an old computer, something that actually has like a Pentium 4, if you're lucky, to be fair, or you start praying that VMware still supports it, or VirtualBox, or whatever other avenue that you have, and you do what you need to do on there. But Pentium 3 emulation, it's definitely not going to be a thing. Okay, so those are done. So let's test that theory. Actually, let's go to, now let's clone the assets repository. As you guys may remember, the assets are right here. 86 box / assets. Oh, damn small Linux got an update for the first time. Oh, interesting. Remind me to check that out once I'm done cloning this repo. Okay, this is going a lot faster than the ROMs, thankfully. It's way heavier now. Well, modern software bloat or whatever. Alright, so let's take a look at our nightly repository. So we have assets, builds, and ROMs. If we go in there, we have our sounds of both floppy drive and hard drive sounds. Chat. We have our nightly build here, and we have our ROMs. So basically, we are ready to go. We're going to go ahead and copy this app image to the root of our nightly folder. Go ahead and do LSAL again. Let's go ahead and rename this real quick to 86box.appimage. Again, no sane person, chat, No sane person. Also, yeah. This entire yeah. The I don't see ask hate yourselves messages on my end, but yeah. I thought I was gonna have to fix something in Streamlabs, but yeah, it's just like top chat. Let me change the all messages are visible. There we go. I don't know why it just automatically does that. It's just weird. But here we have 86 box dot app image. So notice how it's still in gray. We're gonna do that command I did earlier. chmod plus x 86 box dot app image. Run ls again. Now it's green, which means it is executable. Let's go ahead and start it real quick. No machines found. Those are the window menu. Like I kept on seeing that like a couple of times. Tools preferences again still points to 86 box slash machines. All right, now can I? Do the share folders actually show up? SMB? I don't think so. I always shared folders on Linux, at least in VirtualBox. They're such a pain in las nalgas. If anyone speaks Spanish, you'll understand what I meant. Let's go ahead and VirtualBox Linux shared folder permissions. Actually. I wonder if Endeavor OS has anything specific. Okay, VBox SF. Auto-mounted folders. Okay, let me see if this works. Is it auto-mounted? Okay, yeah, it should be auto-mounted. All right. Go ahead and try that then. Figure out what's it called? VMware shared folders on Linux. Yeah, there's a reason I actually don't use VMware for Linux anymore, and I don't use VirtualBox for Windows anymore, and vice versa. It's just I don't know. Windows inside VirtualBox has gotten so weird as of late. I don't know. I personally can't explain it. But it just works for Linux, and VMware just works for Windows. Matter of fact, I still have a Windows XP virtual machine in there that works to some degree because I have to start this VM audio backhost program just to make sure that the sound doesn't sound like shit. But okay. What? Okay, but I'm running this as a ghost. Real Linux users ditch both and just use Qemu KVM and it's all its terminal glory. Use libvirt with virt manager. Well, I grew up on Windows and that's never gonna change. By the looks of it anyway. If whatever this Windows K2 thing turns out to be, if it turns out to be good, then I guess Microsoft still has me in their user base. But as of right now, I'm basically playing both teams. We should need an old version of virt manager to get XP working with. I don't know. I've never used it, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. Let me figure this thing out actually. CD media. Is there any Get out. This is what happens when when I try something else. V-Box. Oh, so it's right there. So it is right there. Okay, so I think I'm gonna have to restart this machine. Wait, what's Bootskin? What's Bootskin? Is it something that replaces the? Is it something that replaces the boot animation on Windows? Could be wrong. But... Alright, let's see if my shared folder actually appears. It does not. Big sad. No, this is the root. But for some reason, that's not even allowed. So that means that if Windows Server would work. Yes, this is true because past after Server 08, 2008 R2 was exclusively 64-bit. So there's no point. There's no point. Back when 80s. Hey, you got an SL86 user here. Let's go. I had a lot. For those that don't know, I was the one who wrote SL86 back when the manager wasn't a thing. I had a lot of fun writing it. If I gotta be honest, I had to learn Python from scratch. I don't even think ChatGPT was out at the time. Come to think of it. Also, NC4 mentioned. Stick around. Okay, it looks like I'm not able to get my shared folders working here, at least on EndeavorOS, because I haven't used anything Arch-based in quite a long time. So we're gonna go ahead and give Linux a break for now. But it's time for me to follow up on something that I've been promising for a whole calendar year, but because of so many things happening in my personal life, I was never able to. So we're going to hop into the stable copy of 86box. You can probably guess what we're going to install. This was the subject of all the testing that I had to do for the unfortunately now canceled Windows NT 4.0 video. But first, this is a special request from Kako, as he's been mentioning that quite a while when we were doing our Copper streams. Did I say Copper streams? Demo streams, my apology. The demo that we're going to try before we hop into, well, what I wanted to do today, or what I just had in mind to be fair, is a demo called Copper. Now, this is not an 8088 demo. I feel like saying 8088 so many times is quite the tongue twister in and of itself. But this demo is actually pretty interesting. As you can see from the specs here, you don't need anything crazy. Definitely more than 8088, of course, but I think you need something along what's it called? A 486 semi-decent graphics card. Actually, no, you do need a You do need a very specific graphics card for this. You don't need 2 hard drives. But I think just that, just, you know, a decent like 486 or newer computer, that specific ET4000AX and a Sound Blaster 16, or I think at least an AdLib, which I haven't even tested yet, should be fine for this demo. Homelander Z911, I do not take video requests. Thank you. Let's go ahead and start this real quick for our beloved Defra. Ow! Good lord. Why is this so bad? Oh, and I have to mention, this is MS-DOS 6.22 with 64 megabytes of RAM. I'm not exactly sure if the demo does use all of that, but now that I think about it, this is actually, I don't think it uses all of that, to be fair. Alright. Go ahead and create a new directory. So we're not sure. Guys, when it gets to the point that I actually have to create a folder, and it's easier to do that in the command prompt, you know it's over. You know it's over. I give up. I'm just gonna do this the old way. Okay, dear copper. Go ahead and access that. Alright. Copy everything in the A drive to C. Oh, chat, I completely forgot. I should have turned on the floppy sounds for this one. You would only use that extra RAM if you're using extended programs, like stuff that required DOS for G. Yeah, fair point. I mean, to be fair, if I install MS-DOS, I don't really spend my time inside MS-DOS in the first place. It's just to run those demos. But go ahead and go back to the shell. Pretty sure I ended up copying that. All right, just go ahead and how does one refresh? Repaint screen. Oh, Shift F5. All right. Hello. Does this actually not see it? Or do I have to? Oh, get out. I love the. Okay. There we go. All right. So there we have it. Kako, I hope you're in chat, buddy. This is all for you. This is all for you, boss. Alrighty. So here we have it. The Copper demo by Surprise Productions. Chat, you heard the demo. Have fun, enjoy life, and more importantly, as the Killjoy said, go outside. I'm not gonna lie, that was a rather interesting demo, all things considered. But yeah, I have a few things to say. This zooming part, yeah, I mean, I did see like a couple artifacts like at the very top of the screen, but for the most part, this ran pretty flawlessly. No, see you, function. Thank you for coming. It ran pretty flawlessly. Music was nice. Granted, it didn't have like the same personality that 8088 MPH did, and you think like just off, like right off the bat, like okay, this is like we're on a VGA card technically. There's, basically anything can happen, but you have to understand that this is basically like just it's code that's like directly talking to the GPU. Now, mind you, one of y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's basically Homelander. Please do not do that. Please don't do that. Like, please, if there are any like phone numbers or addresses, like please do not contact those numbers. Thank you. But as I was saying, like, this is code that talks directly to the hardware, and as Kako said, if you see that those effects only work on that specific version of the ET4000 because it abuses bugs, you know that shit is real. But that's not why I'm here today. Let's actually get to business, because it is time for me to make amends with everyone that was waiting for this video and install NC 4.0. If you guys are still in the chat, thank you so much for coming. But as Floppa said, we're only getting started. Let's go ahead and create a new machine. Actually, let's see. Oh yeah, dude, I absolutely love that demo. It's funny, I haven't really watched that many Amiga demos in my time. I've seen guys, there's this crazy Atari 2600 demo that honestly I keep coming back to. It's called Triplet. Look it up. I swear, this demo scene never ceases to amaze. But here we are. All right. Let's go ahead and create our machine for Windows NC 4.0 workstation. I'm actually just going to label this YouTube. All right. All right. All right. So the minimum specs of NC4 usually they only ask you for 486, 16 megs of RAM. Let's go a little crazy here, shall we? We're gonna go with a very familiar friend. Mind you, you don't have to do that. You can always use the old faithful, aka the Asus. I always have to do this because, my God, the motherboard names. The Asus P/I-P55 TP4XE. Yeah, that particular motherboard. You can definitely do it with that. I mean, it does support the regular Pentium Overdrive, MMX, and then some Win chips right here, up to 240 megahertz to be exact, and then Cyrix, up to 133. Now, the motherboard that we're going to be using, you guys are very familiar with it as per our last transmission. And this actually supports a lot more chips. Supports the regular Pentium MMX, mobile Pentium MMX, Overdrive MMX, the Win chips, and AMD K6. As far as 500 megahertz. And it supports a couple Cyrix chips as well. Cyrix M2, I believe. Yeah, up to Yeah. But, you know, in the spirit of the now canceled video, we're going to be sticking with a Pentium 133, and we're going to be upping this to, wait, what's the thing I used to do actually? Oh, what a surprise. So I'm looking, guys, I'm looking at one of my like super old documents that I use like for testing, and what do you think came up as the machine that I used? You guys are not gonna be, you guys are not prepared for this. The same fucking board, chat. And at the time, I didn't know it was vulnerable to CIH, or maybe I did, but still. The same board, chat. The same board. And of course, the same card I sing praises about nearly 24/7. Alright, so we're going to go with the GA58X board, 133 megahertz CPU. Actually, just 120. It doesn't really matter. You can either do 32 gigs or 64. Actually, we're just going to go this with 64, to be fair. So I see someone ask if I can make a video about Windows NT. Well, I no longer make videos, I make live streams. Must be a sign. Yeah, I suppose so. Considering I just did that stream like last week, and I basically destroyed that machine live. Alright, so, as I was saying, Gigabyte GA58X, 133 megahertz Pentium, 64 megabytes of RAM. We're gonna go to the graphics card. We're gonna go pick our beloved. Our beloved. Now, this is what I was talking about on Nightly. You don't see all the variants. You just see the chipset, and then you have to go into configure and then pick the variant yourself. So, we're going to go with the Diamond Stealth 64 VRAM. No. There you go. Configure and make sure the memory size is 4 megabytes. Over here, you're going to want to make sure that it's a PS2 keyboard, PS2 mouse, 2 buttons, 3, which, honestly, whichever. Doesn't really matter. I'm just going to do 2 buttons because I'm still very used to, what's it called? To unbinding my mouse using the middle button. Progress Bar 95 is not a real thing, last I checked. Like, it's not is it a real operating system? I don't remember. For the sound, you guys, well, it really depends. It really depends. We're just going to go with the, I think, okay, yeah. I think I said the AWE32. I'm gonna have to double check. It's been a while. It has been a while. This is what's it called? Yeah. So let's just stick with the AWE32. We're gonna need to make sure, well, we're gonna leave all of those as is, but I like to just bump the memory size to 2 megabytes just to be on the safe side. That I usually just leave as is, but if you guys don't have system MIDI, you can use any of those. Well, any of the Roland emulations will do just fine. Network, as usual, you guys know it. You guys know what I usually go for. The PCNet PCI 2. Ports. Guys, remind me of one thing. Like, printing is something I actually do have to get into at some point. I just haven't tested it enough. I have done it in the past. It's not something I've like actively documented. AWE32 PNP works for me. I don't really bother with the plug and play, to be fair, because if I recall correctly, I think it still lets you set the it still lets you set the memory size. But I'd rather just stick with that because, well, it just works out of the box. Floppy disk controller internal. Actually, huge distinction. There are times where on IDE it's gotten a little messy with IDE. So I just like to stick to SCSI for NT4. We're going to go with the Bus Logic BT-958D. Now, it's very important that you go into configure and enable the BIOS, because if you don't, it's not gonna detect any of your hard drives and you won't be able to install anything. Or I don't at this point I don't even think you can even boot from CD. At least just hand it over to the SCSI controller, basically. All right, so there's one thing. Lost my train of thought. Hold on. So here's the thing with NT4. During setup, it only supports 4 GB hard drives, which is a little annoying, admittedly. But I have to find the correct what's it called? The correct geometry for this. Hold on. Let me see. I think this should do it. I think this should do it actually. All right. So we're gonna create a hard drive of this particular configuration: 7944 cylinders, 16 heads, and 63 sectors. So every time you go into type, you look up custom large. No. No. No, we're not doing that. So there's a hard limit of 4 GB during setup. So I'm gonna I'm just gonna go a little smaller than that, just to be on the safe side. I'm gonna go ahead and save my hard drive image. Where is it? All right, white C. Now there's a reason I called it disk 0 instead of disk. That's because we're going to be using 2 hard drives in this particular build. So here we have a basically 3.9 gig hard drive, which NT 4.0 should be able to install on. We're going to create another one. Actually, I completely forgot. Make sure that this is on SCSI. Okay. All right. So channel 000 right here. Right here, chat. All right, we're going to go ahead and create our second hard drive. Make sure that this is SCSI 001. You can't pick that because the first hard drive is already on that channel. I'm going to go ahead and do the same configuration here. Go ahead and save that. Okay. Disk 1. So now we have 2 hard drives of the same capacity. Now for our floppies, we're not really doing much with floppies in NT4, so I'm just gonna keep it to a 1.44 megabyte, 3.5-inch floppy drives. But for everyone's entertainment, we're gonna have a little sound to go along with it. Well, not that. Well, if we do get it, then. And then here, we're going to go ahead and put this on 002, the CD-ROM drive. Is there any reason why I can't resize those? Oh, whatever. And then 52 times speed. I don't think we're going to need anything here. I have tried magneto-optical drives on NT4 before, and they do work. It's just that, well, there's not that much of a use case, at least for me. So that's something I can give a try at some point. But all right, let's go through a quick recap of the specs. Postcard is on just by default. Super Socket 7 board, GA5AX, 133 MHz Pentium, 64 megs of RAM, Diamond Cell 64 VRAM, 4 megabytes of VRAM, PS2 keyboard and mouse with 2 buttons. We're gonna go over that. We're gonna go over the sound drivers. There's a reason I picked the AWE32. I think the drivers are actually built in. They work with both the Sound Blaster 16 and the AWE32. AWE32 default settings. Sound Blaster AWE32 default settings. Memory size is 2 megabytes. System MIDI. Network card is the AMD PCNet PCI 2. Nothing here. Internal floppy controller. No hard disk controllers. SCSI controller. Bus logic BT958D. BIOS turned on. 2 3.9 gig hard drives. One on SCSI 000 and the other on 001. One floppy drive, 3.5 inch, 1.44 megabytes with audio whenever we get to use it. SCSI at 002 for the CD-ROM drive, 52 times speed. We can just keep that as the default. Nothing here. And postcard is on, and we are ready to go. Oh, that was a lot of yap, chat. But before we go on with that, I would like to show y'all something that Floppa was doing. Somehow this fella, chat, he managed to get VMware on 86 box. Right there, boss. I'm like, well, emulation-ception, emulation virtualization-ception, and he's doing it on a Pentium Pro. Oh, Lord. Well. What else do we have here? Yeah. But yes, join our Discord. Discord.86box.net. Yes, he actually, well, I think it was version 4.0. Pentium Pro on 86 box is decent, last I checked. I don't really use it, but past couple of times I did, it didn't give me any issues, so I'm not really complaining. Alright, let's get back to the action of today, which is installing NC 4.0. I'm gonna have to go for a water refill soon. But let's not worry about that right now, chat. Hello? There we go. So first things first, you always want to spam delete, especially when you're dealing with an award BIOS. Standard CMOS setup as usual. We're turning all of those off. This is correct. Boot sequence AC SCSI should be fine. Alright. We're not gonna be booting from floppy because the CD-ROM itself is bootable. But I think those are the only changes you need to do. Power management, ACPI, I think that should still be a thing. Legacy ISA. Well, that is just... you guys don't need to do anything here. The only thing you guys really need to know is if you're using SCSI, turn all of those off. Make sure that your floppy drive still works, or that you set it to the correct setting. Then just make sure the boot order is still floppy. I mean, it's just gonna bypass the C option and go straight to SCSI. Alright, so now that you guys are done, we're gonna go ahead and grab the NT 4.0 ISO. Go ahead and get that real quick. NT 4.0 workstation. As far as I'm concerned, this one is either RTM or bundled with Service Pack 1. We'll double check when it installs. But now we can just save the CMOS and exit. By the way, those are the floppy drive sounds. I guess the computer was just accessing it just to see if there was anything in there, which is why you barely heard it. Alright. Setup is relatively straightforward, always has been. Just hit S because it did successfully detect our SCSI adapter. Actually, no. Don't bother doing that. Just hit enter. Setup has detected that one or more of your hard disk has more than 20. Oh, please. Again, it's bordering 4 gigabytes, but I don't think that should be that much of an issue, to be fair. So just continue setup. F8. I have not had the need to change anything here. The above list matches my computer. Is that so? So, all right, let's just give it. All right, let's just give it a try. Let's just give it a try. Now, again, for your boot drive, you guys are always gonna want to go with NTFS. Well, the question is, I have no idea why. This is strange, chat. Like, I don't remember this happening recently, but is there any reason as to why? Hold on. 1 sec. I have to reload setup just to read what that thing said just now. It's like I should get my 4 gig hard drive like right out the gate. No, let me just double check something. Let's go to storage controllers. So this should be fine. Actually, no, we don't need that right now. SCSI 000. Yeah, should be fine. Do DOS games work with NTVDM? That I legitimately don't know. I legit don't know. All right, let's give that a try again, shall we? All right, so let's go ahead and set this up. Bus logic SCSI host adapter should be good. All right. Setup has determined that one or more of your hard disks has more than 1024 cylinders. Because MS-DOS is normally limited to 1024 cylinders per hard disk, which if we do the math, 1024 cylinders, 16 heads, 63 sectors, that would equal to about 500 megabytes? If hard disk size appears too small when setup later displays information about hard disk it has located, you should exit setup and check your CMOS drive type settings. Okay, so let's see what happens. Okay, delete partition. Okay. So that is going to be a bit of an issue. It's funny because I don't even remember doing that. Okay, let's try something. Let's try something, chat. This is something I should have. Let's just do one hard drive. This is crazy. It's like, nah, you actually cannot use the entirety of your hard drive because MS-DOS. Meanwhile, you don't even have to do anything with MS-DOS and NC. Crazy, isn't it? Enter, enter. Come on now. Delete partition. Go to the... Alright, let me actually do that then. Because this is strange. I do not recall having to do that. Could it be that... Oh, I missed it. Hold on. Enable 1 GB support. Alright, so BIOS is on. I just wanted to make sure that the internal device controller didn't just magically reappear. Alright. Nope. Nope. We're going bye-bye. We're going bye-bye. You know what? Alright. I think it's Control B. Okay. Adapter config. I don't think it's that, is it? View modify configuration. Okay, so BIOS. OBAT. Since that's what you're asking about, because I don't remember having to do this per se. BIOS support for 1 GB is on. BIOS support for more than 2 hard drives, or 2 hard drives and up, is also on. BIOS scan is on. Everything looks fine here. This is particularly interesting. Strange indeed. What's scam mode? A mode where you get scammed into using less of your hard drive space than you thought you were allowed to. No, I'm just joking. I have no idea what it is. I agree, but this is NT 4.0. And I was planning to make an NT 4.0 stream. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I had plans to make a NT 4.0 installation video, but due to a couple of things that happened in my personal life, I had to scrap that video. So now I'm doing it live. Windows 2000 will come later. Is that even doing anything? And mind you, this is unstable. I think this is like the common, oh, this thing doesn't work when it's live. But when the cameras are off, it decides to perform just fine. This is rather strange. You know what? Let me just hard reset this. This is particularly strange. Alright, storage controllers. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, like, I don't think I've done anything particularly wrong here, chat. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and look at our previous machines, because I think I'm getting gaslit by my own emulator, bro. Multiple SCSI drives. All right, this is a crazy machine that I made while I was working on the video. I'm not sure if you guys can know. There are 5 hard drives here. Yeah, SCSI. Okay, chat. Y'all know what? Y'all know something? Let me try that configuration instead. 7752 1663. Let me try that instead. We'll go ahead and delete those previous VHDs that I created. It's not supposed to do that. It's not supposed to do that. What the hell? Second hard drive showed 339. Yeah, that's strange, but let me play it safe actually. Let me play it safe. Let me actually play it safe. Oh no, I'm aware. I'm aware. Because like during setup, yeah, no, I'm aware. Because during setup, like after the first phase of, oh, I still had that open. I still had that open. Okay, so during the first phase of setup, after that at least, we're just gonna delete that real quick. You get a screen where it's like, oh, the file system is FAT, converts it to NTFS, and then it starts over again. So we're gonna try something that actually has worked in my particular experience. All right, go to machines. All right, this should work. All right, and we're gonna keep that. We're gonna keep that at 002, unless I might just go ballistic and try something, well, beyond my control. But let me just double check something in this machine, because those are virtually the same specs. Oh, so it was on, okay, so it was on channel 014. Let's just stick with 02 for now. Let's just stick with 002. Unless I'm feeling a little more adventurous. Well, if it doesn't work, then at least we know why. This was, I ended up finding out that this actually works after like a lot of testing. So chat, if it works, then we should be good. Yep, still in there. Let's go. All right. Setup prepares for NT to run on your computer. All right. So bus logic, same thing. All right. So we don't get that error anymore. We don't get the, oh, it's bigger than 1,024 cylinders anymore. Press C. All right. So now we have access to the entirety of the hard drive. Granted, we're doing with fewer megabytes, but you know what? We're still getting access to the entirety of the hard drive and not just 1 gigabyte. We're gonna format this as NTFS. WinNC, no need to change that. Exhaustive. Actually, this doesn't even take that long, so might as well. All right, I will be right back. All right. So here you actually have to temporarily remove your CD from the drive. And then we restart. I have returned. It was just a quick little water break. Now, as user M4V8V mentioned, the type of the file system is FAT. I was abducted by the Killjoy chat. But in reality, I just needed to stay hydrated. It happens. So you go to the first phase of setup, go to the file system conversion, and you reboot. The illusion of choice. It's not like I wanted to go to the VGA mode or something. It's like why even give me that option? So what's behind that VGA mode, chat? Does anyone know? Does anyone know? Alright, so now we can bring back the ISO. Please insert the compact disc labeled Windows. Yeah, there we go. Formats is FAT and converts to NTFS after install. Just copied some basic things from setup. Alright, so you're gonna realize that setting this up is fairly simple, actually. Just again, if you guys didn't know about these tiny little details, I don't know if someone who is brand new to 86box or just all of this might just put in a 20 gigabyte hard drive in there and then realizes, silly old me, I can only use it 1 gigabyte out of this thing. And you know, it's like, and you know, I used something that was under 4 gigabytes. I used something that was like 3.9 gigs, but it turns out I had to go a little bit under that for NT4 to use the entirety of my drive. They're from Beta Archive. You're gonna realize that the setup procedure is very similar to 95 actually. Always go with custom. Guys, let's be real. Let's be real. Like, come on, it's that easy. Like, you limit it to 1 gig on a 2 gigabyte CF card. Interesting. Is it one of those like SCSI to CF card adapters? No, let's not even bother with that, to be honest. Just gotta enjoy our game of solitaire. So again, nothing crazy right out the gate. Alright, NT networking. You can either choose to do this during setup or after. Let's see how I feel. Alright, so this computer will participate. So IDE 2 compact flash. Oh, never mind. So this computer will participate on the network because we will be connecting this to the internet relatively soon. Wired to the network. Start search. All right. PCNet family Ethernet adapter. TCP/IP because you need that to connect to the internet. Leave all of those as is. Ready to install networking components. Yada yada yada. All right. No need to change anything here. Yes, use DHCP. Again, no need to do anything here, really. Start the network, will ya? As usual, if there's no need to change it, you don't need to change it. Just leave it as work group. We're almost done. It's probably gonna ask us to like, or it's not gonna ask us anything. Actually, I lied. So time sync is on, and I'm in the Eastern time zone. All right. Let's see here. Let's see. Again, I have sung praises about this particular card, chat. I can push True Color on 1152 by 864, which is above 1024 by 768. Wild, isn't it? Yes, I did see the test bit map properly. So, okay. I think we should go to like one last copying phase. Yeah, there we go. Time to get abducted again. Guys, did Kayla's fan get scared in my absence again? Because allegedly, I was abducted by the Killjoy. When I just had to refill my water bottle. And there we have it. Installation is finished. Now, granted, if it was back in 1997, I would have created a floppy for emergency repair, but I have not had the need to, so I will not. And now we should be able to boot back into NT4. And now it's giving us 30 seconds to pick between NT4 and NT4 VGA mode. But no point. And there we have it. NT4 and its glory. It's 1152 by 864 glory. Go ahead and use Ctrl-Alt-Delete to log in. Alright, so the sound drivers are not automatically installed. Now you have to look at it. You have to look at it this way. It's pretty much a more stable version of 95, at least on the surface. Well, let me go ahead and fix this real quick. Ugh. You know, I much prefer it like that. There you go. Now NT4, right out the bat, doesn't really take that much space. Right now it's only consumed 177 megabytes out of this, well, nearly 4 gigabyte hard drive. Well, we will be adding a lot more later. Okay, so let's see. I think it makes more sense. Let's get sound working first, shall we? Let's get sound working. So sound is not working. I don't remember who it was. Yeah, Required Aim is looking forward to hearing the majestic startup sound of Windows NT 4.0. But first we need the sound driver. So if I recall correctly, I think it's in multimedia. devices, audio devices, and then add. There we go. 1X Pro 16. Okay, so I have to put that thing back in there. Nah, we don't need you right now. Hit OK. Now, if y'all recall correctly, I think those should be the same exact settings. IO address, interrupt, IRQ5, DMA channel 1, DMA channel 16-bit, which just translates to high DMA, is correct. And MPU 401, basically the same thing, so we're good. Now, I know it says Sound Blaster 16, chat, I know it does, but if you want the bare minimum of sound working, this is basically your only recourse. No, it fucking isn't. No, it fucking isn't, mate. It's like, I made sure. This is proving to be a very interesting install of NT4 chat. Saying the interrupt isn't used by another something else? You think? Well, what's using it then? Do we know? Alright, I think it's time for us to hit device manager. Hold on. Alright. Is it hardware profiles? No. Devices. Which one of y'all is doing this? I don't like this, chat. Wait, no. I forgot it's on the regular device manager. So, Lord knows why it's doing this. It's funny, there's always something that has to happen on stream. There's always something that has to happen. No devices of this class. So why all of a sudden it's telling me like, yeah, just use the current driver. Advanced. Yeah. Well, I'd have to change the interrupt in like somewhere else. Okay. So, okay, so don't restart now. I'll go ahead and change it to 7. Just shut it down. Now, I'm just confused because I don't remember doing that. All right, RQ7. I was gonna go through a hard reset anyway, so it's fine. Oh, please. How did I not pay attention to this? Alright, get out. Get out. Yeah, clearly. Alright, we are back in NC4. Now we prepare ourselves. I think this should work. Well, sound works. Just let me crank the gain a little bit because that was a little low. About 3/4 of the way there. Alright, so we have sound working. Max that out. Just audio properties. Ah, dang it. I should have to go to the control panel to do this again. Yeah, my point. Oh, that's better. Oh, I can hear the low frequencies too. Man, that shit hits. Man, that hits. Alright. Let's go ahead and bring this back. Alright, let's go ahead and install our service packs. Which I think I did put them in. Yes, I did. So we're gonna start with this first. This is Service Pack 6 and this is Service Pack 6A. Lord knows what this has in there, man. It's like 9 million DLL and EXE files. From what I'm seeing too, it's like it has an updated copy of Paint. I'm like, okay. And some more fonts. Alright, accept the license agreement. Install. Does it open Internet Explorer on autorun? No. It's never done that in like the last 10 years that I've installed NC4 in this particular service pack file. I don't think it's ever done that. Well, interesting. If it's backing up Internet Explorer, does that mean I'm getting another version of Internet Explorer for free? We shall see. This is one of the things I like genuinely do not pay attention to. Because if I recall correctly, I think this is like version 2 of Internet Explorer on here. I'll check it out once I'm done once I'm done setting this up. But yeah, for sure. Ooh. So OS Loader is now version 4.01. Was it? Honestly, I had no idea. All right, let's do this correctly now. Let's do this correctly. All right, password at the ready. It lagged a little bit, but you know, it is what it is. Yes, we know. But I guess people like 30 years ago did not know that. It is what it is. It is what it is. Let's see what version we got. Okay, so even with Service Pack 6 installed, it's not really doing much. Well, oh well. But I'll say this. At least it does support Internet IE6. There's no chance we're getting online with this thing. But let's finish what we started. Just gonna go ahead and install Service Pack 6A, and then one last reboot, and then we can figure out if the internet on this thing works. Let's go into the second round of file copying. Okay, boss. Okay. At least that part of setup is done. SP6 originally came on a CD that included IE5 and some other stuff. Right, well, I only got the executable, but honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. I think there should be like one of those like big update CDs that people make like after the fact. Because I know 9X has a few of those. At least there's one by this guy called Chaos Hacker that he made for Windows 98. That I've been using in my 98 VMs like every now and then. Alrighty, so our machine is now up to date. Well, it won't say it here, but rather, let's go to run. Yep. NC 4.0, Service Pack 6, Revised Service Pack 6A. There's a big NC 4 update C2. Yeah, I figured. That's gonna be something I'm gonna test off stream. But yeah, that's actually good to know. Alright, let's go here. Let's go to network. Let's make sure that everything is working. Yes, NT4 protocols. Actually, yeah, let's look at the property stuff. Alright, and then okay, so to my knowledge, I think really the only thing that we have to do is just add the DNS server here, which is 10. If anyone's watched the Windows for Workgroups 3.11 video, we know that DNS server is 10.0.2.3. And then let's see if just this works. Which I think is probably gonna ask me to restart. Is it? No. HTTP frogfind.com. Is it going to work? It works! Alright, so depending on your setup, there's only, well, at least this is important information for all of you guys. I'm just gonna open this right here. So, in case DHCP does not work, chat, this is actually pretty important. So your IP address has to be this. 10.0.2.15, your DNS has to be this, 10.0.2.3, and your gateway has to be 10.0.2.2. But in this particular situation, it does work. At least as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, this version of IE sucks. No, this actually sucks, bro. It's not worth it. All right, let's do a good old trick. Let's go ahead and install version 4 of Internet Explorer, just so we can get the fancy looking what's it called? The fancy looking Explorer before we upgrade this thing to IE6. Shall we? Where is it? Where is it? I have so many things in that folder, it's insane. Alright, there we go. We're gonna go over here, IE4 setup. IE4 replaces previous versions of Explorer. Speedrun reinstall is a bit of an understatement. See, you guys, this is exactly why I'm not really able to just do like full-on videos anymore. The amount of testing that I have to do. I've had to install NT4 at least 10 times just to get like all the footage I wanted, all the results that I wanted. Because there are so many variables. Just so many variables when it comes to installing like old operating systems like these. Okay, so I don't know why, but this copy of 4.0, Front Page Express doesn't work, but you don't really need Front Page Express to get the fancy Explorer. All you need is just to do standard installation and then Windows Desktop Update. Make sure you hit yes. I'm currently in the US. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Let's be real. You know what this reminds me of, actually? I remember once upon a time, I was installing 95 on a 386. This was like when we just started live streams, and it was me, Obat, Ryuzaki in voice chat, and it was taking forever. This thing took at least like 45 minutes to install. I wonder if it's gonna take that long. BCA, I'm currently using a 133 megahertz rate. Oh, hello there. Thing just went from 3% to 52. Okay. I was like, all right, I guess that was relatively easy. Yeah, but this is a 133 megahertz Pentium that I'm using right now. I already did. Oh, bad. I already did. This is, honestly, if you guys are installing NT4, installing Service Pack 6A, well, depending on whatever ISO you use, whether you find it from WinWorld or Beta Archive or quite literally wherever, may that be the first thing you install. I'm still not over the fact that some people are actually trying to use VMware on 86 box, at least the older versions of VMware. But this is something that I've come to call retro software masochism. I'm sure quite a few people here in the 86 box community are very well acquainted with that. Now, mind you, all of those, we're not even really going to make any use of those. Back then, like 30 years ago, that was like fucking revolutionary, if you will. But there's no such thing. I don't know why, but NT4 is probably one of my favorite versions. It sounds, yeah, it has a pretty nice startup sound. Just wait until you get to like NT5. We're talking like early NT5, like before that thing was even called Windows 2000. Because, well, debatably, that was peak startup sound. Well, depending on who you ask. So while this thing is actually installing, chat, I'd like to take a moment to shout out a content creator I discovered like during the later stages of making the NT4 video. You guys might have come across him fairly, I want to say recently, but at least in passing on the channel. Oh, hello there. Hello. I guess something happened. But you guys may have heard of Kyle Heath from the YouTube channel NT to Now. And yes, we've been mentioned. Yes, we were mentioned in like one of his videos. All right, setup is finished installing components, yada, yada, yada. All right. yes, I get it. Like, I was like, all right, please close everything and restart. It's like, setup must restart your computer. Press OK to continue, or else. Like, it's like, come on, man. Yeah, just go with that at this point. Oh, by the way, you guys can actually change the amount of time that it takes to boot, or at least the amount of time that you had to choose. Oh, it made the C drive into. You know, that actually used to be an issue in like some of the earlier builds of NT5, like way back when. I know it sounds crazy, doesn't it? Trying to remember to see if there wasn't any like extra startup any restart after this. Was you using Service Pack 1? I think that was the same thing I was using. I should have checked before I installed Service Pack 6. Because I have two ISOs. I think I've had one that I've had since I was a kid, and then this one that I just got just to make sure I have an authentic copy of NT4 just in case. You're still setting up personalized settings. There's extra bloatware. Default channel setup. I guarantee you, like, none of those things work nowadays. Oh, nice. There we have it. Oh, okay. All right. Well, there we have it. At least we have the Explorer refresh, which is definitely nice. Active channels. None of those are working in current year. Oh, guys, fun fact. Y'all see MSNBC right here? I don't know how many of y'all in the chat are from the US or currently reside in the US. But it wasn't until a week ago that I found out that MSNBC changed their name to MS Now as of like last year. I don't know. I just find it funny. I'm not gonna lie. All right, we do not need you here, sir. All right, so nah, actually, hold on. Let me just because this thing does not work. So I'm just gonna set the homepage to frog find. Just for the heck of it. This is how you know I don't keep up with news. Well, quick little derail here. According to what's it called? Apparently, the name MS Now is a backronym for, and I quote, it's something my source. Hold on. Mind you, this is not me getting into politics here, because we're not getting into politics in this stream. Well, more like never. But apparently it's a backronym for my source for news, opinion, and the world. So MS Now, my source, news, opinion, world. MS Now. I'm like, okay. I legit didn't know. I'm like, I don't pay attention to that shit, chat. I don't pay attention to that. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. All right. Yeah, that's an understatement, Floppa. This is why here at 86 Box, we focus on the good old times of retro computing. Anyway, so if you guys get this particular wizard after installing IE4, click next. Make sure everything goes to local area network, because technically that's what it is. Alright, turns out it wasn't that bad. Okay, no, never mind. Local area network. No, we are not using a proxy. No, we do not need to set up an internet mail account. No. Alright, we're good. We should be good. Secure connection? What? Oh, come on. Yeah, okay, but frog find? Sir, frog find, please. Should look better, at least. Perfect. Now, for those of you wondering why I just default to frog find instead of Google, it's over. It's like, nah, boss. It's not gonna work like that. We can't let you on here with the browser that's like, what? Nearly 30 years old, buddy? Well, it doesn't even say the year, which is copyright information, I think. Okay, 1997. But hey. At least frog find still works. Alright, let's go ahead and upgrade this thing to version 6. No, service pack 1 I think I have. Let's see. That looks like... I could be wrong. That looks like RTM. That has the same exact build number as XP. So you can tell by the ISO name. Well, I think I set that when I created the image file. So accept the agreement. Again, nothing crazy, mind you. Yeah, install now. It has everything. Yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, this particular version of Internet Explorer is not supposed to do anything to Explorer, as far as I'm concerned. Of course, you could definitely go ahead and go to the address right here and just type in whatever web page you wanted, because that was the trick back then. I actually pulled that off on XP when I had one of my older computers. It was still somehow on IE6. It's like, yeah, we still have a web browser in there, boss. There's a trick I need to try, actually. Because, believe it or not, it was about 4 years ago. I was in my C++ programming class in university. And my professor... You know how on certain Linux distributions or certain desktop environments you can just right click and you'll just get like, oh, open terminal in this particular folder. Well, my professor, mind you, he was on Windows 10. It was like, all right, so this is how you do it. You just go to the address bar where you see your entire path and just type in CMD. And mind you, I've used Windows all my life. And this is when I learned that this is how you open the command prompt at a given directory. So when this is done, I want to see if that trick works, at least in NC4. Yeah, but you believe it or not, I only learned about this like 4 years ago, so imagine how dumb I felt. when all this time I was just blaming Windows, it's like, bro, this is such an easy thing to implement, in theory. Just like right click, be like, oh, just like open terminal here, but that's not a thing, you know? I remember picking to do computer science at college, which in the UK is before university, but after mainstream school, I didn't enjoy it because it was a lot of stuff I wasn't really interested in. Just go into detail about that because like computer science, I don't know, like there are so many things that are categorized as computer science by the general public. Like people will even call like IT computer science, like maintaining a network. Computer science, it's ridiculous. And the dev settings, it's an option. Well, I personally had no idea. Look, IE6 is almost done installing. I'm think, yeah, there we go. It's gonna ask me to restart. Close this, close that, and this thing goes bye bye. No, but it's kind of interesting because, as I said earlier, like computer science, at least like in universities in the United States, it usually involves a lot of math, a lot of programming, a lot of like algorithmic stuff. And I guess looking back, because I did start out by doing computer science and at my university, but then I switched to computer engineering, which was a lot more hands-on because I wanted to do hands-on stuff like work with actual hardware, learn how it works, etc., etc. So it's a lot of stuff about logic gates, compression, web technologies like SQL and HTML, databases, data structures, and what. Yeah. It's kind of something like that over here as well. Logic gates, though. Actually, no, never mind. Because there was this course we took called discrete structures, which did have to deal with logic stuff and Boolean algebra and whatnot, like the building blocks of this entire thing. It was fun, but it's kind of not really what I wanted to do. But anywho, like fuck all the theory stuff. Like yeah, it's definitely important to learn, but I feel like if I stayed in that mindset of like just learning theory shit, I would have gone insane. Which is why I don't think I've really discussed this, even in Discord server, but I did get a hold of a few microcontrollers, and I'm working on, uh, a bit of a macro keyboard thing, where I can, hard code certain features to a button. Like for example, if I want to unbind the mouse, I don't want no theories. I want reality. This is true. I want the real things. I want hands-on stuff. I want to be able to see and feel the hardware for myself. The power of the sun in the palm of my hand or whatever. Or the power of an IBM. The power of an IBM PC in the palm of my hand. 86box.net. You guys didn't get a chance to really use virtual machines? What? I mean, come on. I mean, look, if I had to learn about operating systems, I'm not gonna lie. This was more of an engineering thing to be honest, but of course we had some software stuff to do. We did have a few Linux virtual machines that we had to use. Mainly, there was one that was on like Ubuntu, version 20.04, mind you. But this was 2 years ago, when that version was still relevant, mind you. LTS. Okay, so now we should be on IE6. I've done so much in virtual machines when I was younger. I'm fed up. Yeah, I mean, guys. Let's be real. I think we all started with VirtualBox. Or, God forbid, Virtual PC 2007. That's a thing of the past. Because one thing is barely even supported. You have to go through a bunch of hoops to get Virtual PC to work in modern Windows. Not even just modern Windows as a whole. Just Windows 8. Because I remember when I got my new computer, it was like back in like late 2012. That's where everything started for me. It was this shitty AMD powered computer, 4 gigs of RAM, 500 gigabyte hard drive. But, you know, basic entry level little thing. And it ran Windows 8. The thing is, I couldn't get Virtual PC to run out of the box. Mind you, this was definitely like... definitely beefier than the old computer I had, mind you. Which was considerably weaker. It was a Intel Celeron M520. Just... talk about, like, a computer from 07. Had that thing for 5 years. Until I upgraded. Half a gig of RAM, 80 gig hard drive, a tiny single core shitter, Intel Celeron M, 1.6 gigahertz. Alright, so now we should be on IE6. Which, of course, if I run good old Google on there, it doesn't work. I think I know which version of what's it called? Alright, of course, Frog Find words. I'm 25, for reference. You know, I've been in this community for like several years. Just put it that way. A custom build in the early 2000s. Wild. Alright, so I'm gonna do the next best thing here. I'm gonna go ahead and find my master FireFox ISO. Where is it? Where is it? Where the hell are you? There you go. I have quite a few things in there. As far as I'm personally concerned, version 2.0.0 is the newest one that's gonna run. I know that's the newest version that runs on 98. But let's give that a try regardless. If not, we can go back to version 1.5. I think that still has SSL support. Hello chat. I love the chat just refreshing out of nowhere. I love how like utterly destroyed the icon for version 52 is. Like, have fun even trying to get that to work. It's probably gonna say it's not even a valid Win32 application. Alright, so again, I'm sure you guys know how this works. Yes, I am 25 years old. That was relatively easy. Let's see if we're gonna get anywhere with this. I am in true color actually. I think that should prove it. Don't bother importing anything. To be fair, I don't remember if there was a 16-bit icon color mode, as far as I'm personally concerned. Yeah. Okay, yeah, fine. Just make it my default browser. Able to verify the identity of. I think I should have bumped this to 128 megs. Is this still on 64 megabytes? It actually does connect to Mozilla, which is wild. Yes. I'm gonna have to do that a lot. Okay, I think we're using a newer version of TLS right there. Okay. It's probably gonna say something like, oh, they have no common security algorithms. But hey, at least we're getting text. And allegedly the connection is secure. There's some level of CSS involved. Man, oh man. Yeah, we get it. We get it. I really need to find out like what versions, what ESR versions are still supported. Of course, nothing happens over here. But I think we can go ahead and give this a try. Oh, it doesn't even work there either. Sorry, your browser. Aww, your browser doesn't work in there anymore, buddy. And yeah, this came out in 08. So I think it's like the newest browser that works on NT4. Like, think about it, chat. Try ProtoWeb. I'll definitely look into that after stream. That's a lot of things I gotta do. All right, so a lot of y'all are saying a lot of things. A Web 1 proxy, or actually, while we're here, chat. While we are here, I did say I have to shout out a very specific content creator. His name is Kyle E. I cannot speak today. His name is Kyle Heath from the NT2 Now YouTube channel. And yes, he's mentioned us in the past. But honestly, he's been making some really, really interesting content about NT 2000, Windows 2000, even like some niche server, what's it called? Some niche server versions. So let's see. He made a video on NT4 if I can still find it. All right, there we go. So quick little watch party there. This is a really just interesting video that he made about NT4 on the modern day internet. Go ahead and post the link in the chat as well, so you guys can. Oh, okay. Kyle, brother, the. I gotta put a seizure warning there, bro. Come on, I was in the dark.
Windows NT4 arrived at a moment when the internet was only just beginning to find its feet. In 1996, most people were still dialing in, websites were simple, and the idea of putting a workstation directly on the public internet wasn't something many businesses even considered. NT was built for stability, for file servers, for local networks, and not for the tangled web of encryption certificates and security standards that would come later. But the foundations laid in systems like this shaped the next decade of computing. They were never intended to speak the language of today's internet. Yet, with enough patience and a few modern tricks, you can sometimes coax them into doing surprising things. So, as this installation completes, we're going to take a look at what NT4 can still manage in 2025 and how far it's possible to push a system that predates much of the modern internet.
Yeah, y'all realize one thing. Like, I was watching this intro again, and I was thinking this is basically what the demo scene is doing with older computers like the 8088s and CGAs and whatnot. They do some crazy shit that you think you couldn't do with those graphics cards, but you know, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about. And now here we are. We're basically taking this thing back to the modern internet. Back to the modern internet, or back from the past to the modern internet? Well, have it your way, I guess.
Windows NT Workstation is one of my favourite operating systems. It was probably the first big boy operating system I got to work on. I thought to myself, I've seen lots of videos of people putting Windows 95 on the modern internet, but what about NT4? So in this video, I'm going to connect NT4 to the live internet, I'm going to show you how to use a proxy via my Mac to actually get better rendering of web pages.
See, this is the networking fuckery that I actually have not tried, because then I would have to, you know, do some stuff on my computer, yada yada yada. So that's something I haven't tried yet.
We'll do a little something with Telnet, and then at the end of the video, I'm going to get Outlook Express to connect to my Gmail account and send and receive emails from 2025.
You guys have to be careful with that, by the way. You're connecting your production Gmail, mind you, to an old client, which I'm pretty sure has like 1 or 2 crazy vulnerabilities. Well, as long as you know what you're doing, John.
So let's get cracking in this one. Before we can connect NT to anything, it needs one thing it definitely doesn't have out of the box, and that's a working network card. Qemu offers several emulated network cards.
Yeah, for reference, he actually did use Qemu in this video, but in the Windows 2000 video, well, just stick around for that one.
But the closest match to something Windows NT can actually talk to is the AMD PCNet family. It's a fairly faithful emulation of a late 90s PCI network adapter, and on paper it should work perfectly with NT4. The problem is that NT predates a lot of this hardware, and the built-in driver library simply has no idea what this card is. So although Qemu presents a perfectly valid NIC to the virtual machine, NT just sees unknown device and stops right there. Eventually I found a later driver package from the year 2000, back when some vendors were still releasing updates for legacy systems. It's not something you'd stumble across by accident, but once installed, NT suddenly understands the emulated adapter. Once that driver is in place, everything falls into line. NT recognises the card immediately, binds to TCP, loads the networking services without complaint, and at this point we have, finally, a functioning TCP IP stack from 1996 running inside Qemu.
Yeah, actually, let's go ahead and confirm that in our machine, chat. Let's go ahead and all right, where's the prompt? All right, command prompt. ipconfig, and basically what I said at least half an hour ago was correct. IP address is 10.0.2.15 and the default gateway is 10.0.2.2. This is not, mind you, those are settings that NT4 discovered on its own, but for older operating systems like not NT 3.1, that's something for like way into the fucking future, but for Windows for Workgroups 3.11, I've had to have those settings on hand to get into networking on there. So, yeah, but that's definitely, we're using Slurp here, at least that protocol, if you will, and I'm assuming Qemu basically does the same.
Complete with all its quirks and limitations. One thing that was really important with Windows NT was reinstalling the service pack every time you added new hardware or changed system components. NT would often ask for files from the original i386 folder, and when it did that, it quietly overwrote newer system files with the older ones from the CD.
Hate to see it.
Could suddenly roll back to a pre-service pack state without warning. So
hate to see it. What's up, Cecil?
Whenever you installed a driver or added a network card, you immediately reran the service pack to bring everything back up to date again.
You basically had to have those files like on standby if you had to update something. Like, yeah, Slurp also works on Wi-Fi. You don't have to be hardwired to Ethernet for that. Like, I've tried it on my Mac before. That thing doesn't even have its native Ethernet port. So imagine.
Most modern browser Windows NT4 can run is Internet Explorer 6 Service Pack 1, released back in 2001. By that point, Microsoft had already moved.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say one thing. I don't think I installed the Service Pack 1. I think it's just the regular Internet Explorer 6 release that I installed. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's the latest version it can run anyway. So
on to Windows 2000 XP. So IE6 SP1 became the absolute end of the line for Internet Explorer on anything older. It was as far as NT would ever go, and even though it was considered modern at the time, today it carries none of the security, encryption or web standard support that the modern Internet expects, which makes using it in 2025 a very interesting experience. NT finishes starting up and I log in with Control-Alt-Delete. As the desktop appears, Internet Explorer 6 sets itself up in the corner. I close a welcome screen, open IE, and the old connection wizard appears. I choose Connect via LAN, which wasn't common for home users back in the late 90s.
That's what I do all the time. That's what I do all the time. Yeah. Always LAN. We do emulate dial-up, but even I still haven't gotten a hang of that. It's interesting.
Now, the browser's finally ready to open. When Internet Explorer finally opens, the first thing I try is a modern website, something simple like Wikipedia or BBC News, but
Just use Frog Find.
IE6 can't load either of them. Today, almost every major site requires HTTPS with modern versions of TLS and far new cipher suites than anything NT has ever supported. NT's SSL stack tops out at SSL 2 and 3, both long retired, and IE6 simply can't negotiate a secure connection. It can't even complete the initial redirect to the secure version of a page. So as far as the modern web is concerned, Internet Explorer on NT just hits a brick wall the moment it tries to go online. 68k.news is effectively a lightweight, text-first reconstruction of Google News, originally designed for vintage Macs with limited browsers, and at first it loads surprisingly well in Internet Explorer 6. The front page comes up without too much trouble. But the moment you try to open an actual article, it all falls apart. So you're left with a homepage that works, and a website you can't actually read. At first I assumed this was just NT running into its usual limitations, but then I tried exactly the same links in Chrome on my Mac, and I got the same result there as well. The article pages simply wouldn't load, which makes it clear.
So this was a problem on 68k News's end. Oh, let's give that a try here, actually. Yes. Or does it? I don't know at this point. This is so misleading. Oh, version 5.0, IE5 update. Oh, please. This is genuinely misleading. Alright. I'm actually interested in seeing this. TikTok. You see this, chat? No, so as you guys, I'm not sure if you guys heard, but yesterday, actually, Spirit Airlines, pretty huge low-cost airline here in the United States, went out of business. And we have someone from TikTok trying to buy the company. Oh, crowdfund an initiative to buy it. 23 million in pledges. Insane. Yeah, they're still broken. Still broken. That's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate.
This isn't an NT problem at all. It's an issue with the site itself. Before I can install Opera, I have to install the Windows installer service for NT. Opera normally tries to download this automatically, but of course it can't. The download uses HTTPS and NT simply can't make that connection. So I install the MSI runtime manually, the way you would have done on older systems, just to give NT the ability to run modern installers at all. When I try to install Opera, the setup program immediately runs into a long-standing bug. The installer loops on itself, endlessly checking whether a copy of Opera is already running, even when nothing is running at all. It never gets past that point. This kind of behaviour was surprisingly common with late-era Windows NT applications. By the early 2000s, installers were becoming much more sophisticated and relied on newer APIs that were introduced in Windows 2000 and XP. NT4 simply doesn't have those functions. So even though the Opera browser itself is perfectly capable of running on NT, the installer that delivers it often isn't, leaving you to have to find more creative ways to get the program onto the system. Even though the Opera
I still have to figure out how to get this thing to work. Oh, the old web. I think that might still work. Hello, Airbends TV. Welcome to the stream. I think that might still work. I'll have to double check. But regardless, very, very insightful, very informative too. Very informative video from our lad Kyle Heath from NC to Now. You guys gonna watch just wanted to show you guys a little preview of that. Go ahead and watch the video on your own if you so choose. But to my surprise, if we go ahead and watch, where is it? This video. As you can tell, I've already watched it.
I opened Internet Explorer on Windows 2000 for the first time. After completing a short setup wizard and confirming a standard LAN connection, we head directly into Windows Update, but the service no longer behaves as it once did. Rather than offering updates, it returns an IIS forbidden page, a clear reminder that Microsoft's original update infrastructure for Windows 2000 has long since been retired. To restore Windows Update functionality, I turned to a community project known as Legacy Update. Hosted at legacyupdate.net, it recreates the update infrastructure that Microsoft once provided, allowing older versions of Windows to reach the catalogue again. By installing the Legacy Update client,
I'll just say this, in my experience, Windows 2000 has been a lot easier to install. But, again, that's going to be something for another stream.
Windows 2000 can communicate with a modern replacement service and once more download the updates it was designed to receive. With the installer now reaching its final steps, Legacy Update prepares to register its ActiveX control. But Windows 2000 has other ideas. The process abruptly fails, reporting an access denied error. It's a reminder of how tightly controlled, and occasionally unpredictable, this early security model could be. Launching Legacy Update inside Internet Explorer, the page refuses to load, but a closer look reveals the underlying issue. The browser is attempting to connect over HTTPS, and that, it turns out, is the root cause of that problem. Trying once more to launch Legacy Update, Internet Explorer now prompts us to install a cap.
I gotta say, that entire interface was stupidly clean.
File, likely the very component that failed during the earlier update. The process begins to update the system certificate trust list, a crucial step if Windows 2000 is to communicate securely with modern servers. But just as progress is made, Internet Explorer abruptly crashes and the installation ends with another familiar message, access denied. The solution, in the end, is surprisingly simple. By launching Legacy Update over plain HTTP rather than HTTPS, the service finally responds and the update process begins to work as intended. With Legacy Update now functioning correctly, Windows Update finally allows us to begin downloading components once again. The system starts by retrieving and installing the background intelligent transfer service, the mechanism Windows uses to fetch.
So this is a lot of yap about Legacy Update. Let's see what the rest of this video is. Alright, so can we get it to work? Yada 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 yada.
In place, Legacy Update loads fully and presents the complete catalogue of available patches. Scrolling through the list,
this is definitely like Legacy Update stuff. This stuff we can try like when we get to it.
Reminder of just how
but again, there's some more testing I have to do. So
extensive the update backlog had become. Among the optional components now available, I selected Windows Media Player 9, the final version offered for Windows 2000.
That is one crazy file size. It's like so precise, bro. We could have just said 13.3, but it's like, no. 13.299999999999997 megabytes.
I'll return to this later in the video, as it will play a key
insane.
role in testing whether this system can still stream live content from the modern internet. I'm now going to revisit one of the era's most familiar tools, MSN Messenger. For many people, it was their first experience of real-time online conversation, a place where the distinctive...
So long story short, he goes over Legacy Update, MSN, Windows Media Player 9, which I believe was also on... Actually, no, that was on Windows ME. But, well, if you guys go ahead and watch this as well... see. Wait, what was that?
As we did 2 decades ago, it effectively rebuilds the infrastructure that Microsoft once operated.
Yeah, they always do that, bro. Always do that. Python proxy. This is actually really cool stuff. Wait, he actually got that to work? Stop.
We can transcode the modern MP4 into a WMV file, a format that Windows Media Player on Windows 2000 can recognise and stream, albeit with difficulty. Now that the file has been successfully converted, let's see what happens when we open it in Windows Media Player 9 and attempt to stream it directly from my Mac. I hope you've enjoyed this trip back into what we can do with Windows 2000 on the internet in 2025. I'd love to get your feedback on it. Put something in the comments, ask me some questions, suggestions of what you want to see in another video.
This runs just as bad as it used to on my 98 machine, where I'd like, mind you, the video files were like 320 by 240, so.
Really cool. And let's get back onto the next bit. The stream does play, but the stuttering is hard to miss, a consequence of running Windows 2000 inside 86 box.
Excuse me? Y'all heard that, right? Hello? That's us right there. That's us right there. We just got noticed.
Which is emulating a Pentium 2 era machine.
Well, that actually explains it. He was running this on Pentium 2. And from, at least from the information that we were able to glean from his video, it was running on a MacBook Air. Now, what processor he was using, if it was an M1 or M2 series, I personally don't know. But thank you for the coverage.
It's a limitation of the virtual hardware rather than the media format. The conversion itself was handled by FFmpeg, available at ffmpeg.org. As you can see, the command line syntax required to produce a compatible...
Yeah, holy shit. This is why I personally... this is why I have not had to deal with FFmpeg. Did you know that Linus Tech Tips mentioned 80? Yes, I'm very much aware, and we did comment on that video actually. I think this was when we were trying to get the serial port pass through working. I don't remember what year that was, whether that was in 2023 or 2024. I could look the video up. Not sure. But it was during that time. I was like, "Yo, Linus, thank you for the coverage, boss." But yeah, that was fun. Oh, Cecil, please. I'll tell you this. We have realized, like, if you go to CPUbenchmark.net, let's be real. A single thread right here. The answer is clear. Apple has dominated the charts for, I want to say, at least 2 calendar years. Oh, February, yeah, 2023. Yeah, I figured. But Apple has consistently dominated the single thread charts. Even the M3 Ultra. Which, chat, let me see something. This is like this is like peak side quest stream right here. Actually, I'm just gonna stick to that actually. This is like peak side quest stream. Now, M3 Ultra is available in the Mac Studio. Yes, more power to you. I know. You're starting out $3,600. Oh yeah, it's with the education discount. Let me just remove that then. We get the actual price. You guys are starting out at $4,000 for this chip right here. It's already crossed 5K pass mark. Yeah, we'll stick with that. 96 gigs, bro. Well, if you want 2 terabytes, it's gonna be an extra $400. Well, see, so here's the thing. If you pay attention to our Twitter, at 86bucks emulator, by the way, for the finest shitposts, you'll be aware that several times we've configured those machines. Mind you, all right, let's go crazy. Let's go just absolutely crazy. You know? 256 gigs. 16 terabytes. Actually, no, that's a little crazy. That's a little insane. You could theoretically pay $8,000 for allegedly the most powerful 256 gigs of RAM. A quarter of a terabyte of RAM, John. Like, imagine blowing $8,000 just to run 86 bucks. Or rather, since this is a 32 core CPU, since this is a you could probably like manage to run, I want to be generous, at least 8 instances of 86 bucks emulating an MMX on that machine. Now, I'll pop this back on actually. If we go over to the MacBook Pro, which I think is the only computer right now in Apple's lineup that has M5. I think the MacBook Air also has the M5. I could be wrong. Yes, it has the M5, but again, if we look here, M5 Pro. This is almost at 6,000 pass mark. So let's go ahead and do that actually. Let's not go too crazy here. 14-inch M5 Pro. Oh, 18 core actually. I think I'd be fine with like 24 gigs, honestly. I think that would be just fine. If we want to go like that, if we want to go ballistic, or just have like the ultimate 86 box machine right there, you just go with the M5 Max. But then again, you'd have to be worried about like cooling and stuff because that's a pretty powerful chip. 18 core CPU. Well, that's the only option you have, really. So even with that, you'd basically be on top of the charts when it comes to single thread performance. And this is why. This right here, chat. This is why we make imagine buying super expensive Apple machine just for 86 bucks. Because you could go here and just buy this thing. Or rather, just go crazy. Buy 16-inch model. M5 Pro. Oh, yes, it's already on the 18 core version, so. Go crazy, 64 gigs of RAM. Yada, 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 yada. I don't know. I want to be, like, generous. Put 2 terabytes. Because my boot drive isn't even like more than that, to be honest. $3,700. Insane. And yes, tomorrow is Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. But side quest is buy it only for 86 bucks and PS3 emulation. I think that's fair, actually. I think that's quite fair. Even though I've never really heard anything about RPCS3's performance on that, but that's mainly because I already have my own PS3, so I don't really care about emulation. I don't really care about PS3 emulation as it is.
WMV file is fairly involved. Even net meeting to net meeting, real-time online collaboration. And here we are.
Wait, did he actually?
The full range of features the software once offered: a text chat, a shared whiteboard, and even a file transfer. It's a built-in way for 2 people to exchange instant messages. In a corporate environment, tools like ICQ, Yahoo Messenger, or even MSN Messenger were rarely installed.
I was almost under the impression that he used the camera for that. I'm like, we don't even emulate that. We don't even emulate that.
Which filled an important gap. Using essentially a simplified collaborative version of Microsoft Paint, it allowed 2 people.
Let me tell you about a great YouTube channel, youtube.com/@86box.
To sketch, annotate, or jot down ideas in real time. For its day, it was an impressive feature, even if it's unlikely that many users relied on it regularly.
Yes, actually, no, guys, please subscribe to NTita now, because I think that he's basically like filled in a pretty huge gap in the content of this channel. Like, I really wanted to put those videos out, but as it stands right now, like, live streams are basically the only way that I can do that. So stop with it. Well, I'm sorry. I know good content when I see it.
NetMeeting also offered a built-in way to send and receive files directly between 2 users. At the time, this was surprisingly valuable, although email was commonplace in most providers.
Anyway, I've already posted the link to that video somewhere in chat. But now I did say, I have to get going soon. But I did say that if the stream hit 40 likes, someone here briefly mentioned Windows 10 on 86 box. And I'm willing to take up the challenge. Again, we're gonna be staying unstable. Let's go ahead and shut this down. We'll probably revisit that virtual machine at some other point in the stream. Or in some other stream, rather. Yeah, Eternal Torment. Sounds about right. I don't think this machine even has like ACPI shutdown support. So it's just gonna ask us to just close. Yeah. All right. So the people have asked, the people shall receive. So now I'm trying to figure out what machine would be adequate for this. Now we're gonna go like as new as possible. All right, as new as possible. Socket 370. One of the machines I usually tend to stick with is either the Asus CubeX or CUBX, however you wish to pronounce it. The 7020BX2 from Atran, or this one. I think I'm going to give that a try, actually. So you either have the Celeron or the Cyrix 3. Which on Cyrix 3, you have the option either using the dynamic recompiler, or you can just go straight interpreter. But honestly, it's up to you guys. So we're going to start with a very generous 400 megahertz. Of course, there's no way that my computer is actually going to be able to emulate that at full speed. Remember, I am on 11th gen i7. So, this can go further than 2 gigs. What? Okay, so this motherboard is actually capped at 3 gigs of RAM. We're going to play it safe, and we're going to keep it at 2 gigs. So 400 megahertz, Celeron Mendocino, or Mendocino, however you would like to pronounce it. None of my business. And what do we have here? Let me stick with the... Okay, so I guess let me stick with the safe bet. That's the S3 Trio 3D. 8 megs of VRAM. There's no guarantee. Like, right now, I genuinely have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea whatsoever. I think I'm going to stick with this, actually. PCI 4.1. PCI 128. Actually, yeah, I'm going to stick with that. I have no idea. Yeah, just do slurp. Internal device. Okay, let me refer to this again. Let's see if this is even gonna work. So Epic Dude Joe in the Discord, he did send me an entire list of authentic hard drive models, and I'm just referring to that list right now. So this one's 52,946 cylinders, 16 heads, and 63 sectors. All right. What do we have here? What do we have here, chat? Oh, I just realized this thing is like 70 gigs. Wild. All right, here's our hell folder. Disk. No floppy drives. None whatsoever. Now here, ATPI channel 10, 72X, and important distinction here. 86 box DVD version 5.00. And then postcard, just for the heck of it. You guys really want to know what happens when you run Windows 10. It's when you attempt to run Windows 10 inside 86 box. Now, mind you, I have a copy of like the first release of Windows 10 LTSC somewhere. It wasn't even known as LTSC back then. It was known as LTSB, which stood for Long-Term Servicing Branch. Okay, so I have no idea why it thinks it's midnight, but that's not really that big of an issue for me, honestly. It really isn't. Alright, force this, force that. Alright. Let's pop those out. So, primary master. Okay, so it does detect the hard drive. Does detect this? None. So it didn't detect anything. Alright. Now let me go ahead and find my CD image. Or rather DVD. This thing is actually pretty massive. Well, you guys will get what you asked for. It's actually 2.5 gigs. It's not even that big. All right. All right. So the CD is in there. I'm not even gonna entertain that. I'm not even gonna entertain that. You actually like took time out of your day to go to the official 86 box channel, only to say this. Like, respectfully, get the fuck out of here. All right. What do I know? Floppy disk fail. All right. Was there something? All right. No, disable that, please. Oh, right. So I forgot to remove that. All right. So legacy diskette A and B, none. Hard drive is here. DVD is here. Oh, okay. So let's go ahead and, Alright. So I'm gonna move that up the list actually. There we go. Alright. Let's see what it does. We're not really seeing anything here, chat. I mean, is it even accessing the CD drive? Is it? Now look at the percentage. We're chugging along at a we're chugging along at a solid like near 60. Well, I guarantee you guys are not gonna see much. It's just a blinking cursor at the bottom left of the screen. Maybe in the 22nd century, Cecil. Maybe in the 22nd century, you know, when God will decide that pigs shall fly. You know? never thank you enough for creating and supporting 86 box. Thank you. Mind you, I am not the developer. I'm just a guy that has enough free time to make videos for the channel, but I will send your regards to the main dev. But thank you. Thank you for the kind words, Exo Starless. 22nd century is crazy. Yeah. Inside joke that me and one of my friends from like forever ago had. I was like, bro, 22nd century, you know, it's not happening, boss. It's not happening. Well, we've been here for quite a while. I don't think anything is going to happen. At least in the 22nd century, we'll finally have P3 support. Allegedly. Okay, so... Oh. Yeah, nothing's happening. We're just getting straight black screen. CC, you're fine, dude. You're fine. Yeah, nothing's happening. So, how about this? How about this, chat? Maybe, just maybe, could probably try switching this from a Celeron to a Cyrix 3 with Dynarect turned on. Let's see what that does. Let's just make sure that nothing's changed here. Yeah, nothing's changed. Still boots from the DVD. This was a dare from someone in chat, actually. I know. Oh! Oh, okay. Hold up. After a bit of a rocky start. Well, after a bit of a rocky start with this attempt of running Windows 10 and 86 box, which I guarantee you, chat, it's not gonna work. Yep. It was doing a thing, but this is the exact same error that I got the first time I tried it. Your PC/device needs to be repaired. This operating system uses the physical address extension feature to support systems with more than 4 GB of RAM. It only has 2. It only has 2. It only has 2, bro. Boss, it only has 2. And it gives me an error code of 0xC0000260. Yeah, now, like I said, I've seen several screenshots of, there's a kernel patcher for Windows 10 that disables PAE. Fuck out of here. So, you can just enter as much as you want. Even try F8. It's not going to let you get past that. Like, you're basically stuck at a dead end. So, Celeron, you don't even get anything. But this is just one of the outcomes, if you think about it. I could try on this other socket 370 machine that I have. The HN 7020. But this time we're bringing back the and this one's stuck at one what's it called? This one's stuck at 1 gig of RAM. But let's give that a try still. Oh wait, AGP? Is that a thing? Look, we could always try something else. Like this. But let's just stick with the same graphics card at least for now, just to keep things consistent. Get your 3D, 8 megs. We're still trucking along. I just realized I might not have shown you guys the actual specs for this thing. So here we are. I changed it to the ATC 7020BX2, 400 megahertz Celeron, 1 gig of RAM. Still using True 3D. Still, everything else is basically the same. I just changed the motherboard. Alright, so we're still pushing at like 80% here. No, we do not have a floppy. Quit thinking that we have a floppy. Alright, I think this should be it. Oh. So it just dies. So it just dies. On an Intel chip, it just dies. But again, if we do the same thing, if we switch it to a Cyrix 3 CPU, what is happening? Oh, just memory test. That memory test is just insane. I think it's basically gonna do the same thing. It's just gonna tell y'all, hey, your PC allegedly needs to be repaired, and you can't get past that screen. Though now that Floppa mentioned that you can get it patched to disable the PAE check, I wonder how much further we can go on that chip. I really do. Because that kind of piqued my interest. Floppa, I'll see you on Discord, bro. Wonder how much carnage we can get on this thing. Of course, I personally don't even recommend going past XP on 86 bucks for several reasons, to be honest. But look, we're gonna get to 2000. We're gonna get to XP. We're definitely gonna get to Vista because man, did I have a bit of a blast setting that up. But well, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do any further than that, to be fair, because it's always gonna say the same thing. You just enter. Can't really do any key here. F8. Nope. It's like, I'm not letting you do shit, buddy. I'm not letting you do shit. So, yeah, we can just talk. Actually, yeah, you can just DM me that on Discord. All right, I got it. Thank you. That's definitely not something that's gonna be stream worthy as far as I'm concerned. Oh, Windows 1.01 on the Pentium 2. Look, I'll just say this. I tried Windows 3.0 MME on a Pentium 2, and it worked. It worked just fine, actually. But that's going to be something I'm going to test at some other point in time. But for now, it is... I don't want to say it's pretty late, but this was a pretty long live stream, and I'm actually quite surprised we made it this far. But I will take my leave for now. I actually quite enjoyed doing, just this... I don't want to say aimless stream, but more so relaxed, where we don't really have, like, plans or anything of the sort. Like, we're just chilling. We're just doing whatever. Chat suggests us things to do. That kind of content. But this was quite the fun transmission, and I'll see if we can do something like that next Sunday. Of course, always at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, and I believe 4 p.m. Central European time, I think. Question mark. I should be on top of that, bro. I really should. Yes. Let me see. Actually, no. 7. So yes, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Central European time. Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for coming to today's transmission. It was super fun. We're gonna have a lot more fun things planned for future streams. And as always, stay tuned. Keep tabs on our announcement tabs on Discord, on YouTube, on Twitter. And, well, I think I'm going to get a little bit of rest. Because, well, this was fun. Alright, guys. Y'all take care.